Hello everyone and welcome to my tutorial on how you can build out a stock market dashboard within Power BI. I'm assuming that you have no knowledge of Power BI, so beginners are very welcome. But if you do have knowledge, that's great. Hopefully you'll learn something from this. Before diving into the details, let's take a look at what the report features and what the different pages are going to show. So on this overview page, we have just some general metrics for the company, which will track the company's performance. On our second page, this is just going to be a general overview of the company profile. So what sector it's in, where is it located, the CEO, and what does it do. And finally, we're going to have a key metrics page for our third page here. And also, this report is going to feature 7 different companies, all of which are some of the largest in the world. So that is what the UI is going to look like for the back end and the data. I'm going to take you through how you can import data and then model it so that you can use it to build out the front end. So with all of that said, let's get started in building this report out. In order to get started, we must have Power BI installed. If you don't have it installed, just go to Microsoft's website and install it. So open up Power BI. I've got all my data already wrangled. If you're following along with the tutorial, just check out the GitHub link in the description for the repo which contains all of this data. So now I just need to import all of these into the report. So we're just going to get data from text and CSV. And we also have one which is an Excel workbook. With all these tables imported, let's go and check out what they look like. So throughout this data set, we connect the tables using the ticker or symbol in each table. So just keep that in mind. With that being said, we can go to our data model here by going to this third button on the left. And I have already configured the model such that it got rid of the automatic connections. Typically when you import stuff, Power BI will auto connect tables based upon keys that it finds, but I've just disassembled those. And I've done that because I want to assemble them in a way which makes sense to me, which is to assemble the one-to-one connections first. So that is joining the key metrics to the profile, the prices to the profile, and the consensus to the profile. And we're going to do that on this symbol field. With that done, when we go and look at these other tables, we'll notice that they have many of the foreign key. So we're going to have to connect all of these with the profile table. However, we can connect all of these tables as well using a composite key, which will just be the ticker and date. So let's go into Power Query, and I'm going to show you guys how you can join these tables there. And we get to Power Query by going over here and saying Edit Query. Within Power Query, the tables in question are the additional key metrics, the additional income statements, FCF data, and ratios. So all these have a ticker and a date. Let's change the date so that it's no longer a date time, but it's of the date type, and we're going to add a new step for each of these. With that done, we need to create a new column within each table, and it's just going to be a concatenation of the ticker and the current date. And we're doing this because with this combination, we can join all of these tables together in one single table. And we add a new column by going up to the ribbon, select Add Column, Custom Column. I'm going to call this Composite Key. And it's going to be the ticker. To concatenate, you use ampersand, and then we need date. But the problem here is that if we only do this, you can't combine the date type with the text type So we have to convert the date to text. So say date.toText, and then we pass in the date as the argument and just hit OK, and we have our composite key. So I'm going to go and repeat those steps on the other three tables. With this done, we have two options. We can either close and apply and then join the tables within the data model of the Power BI editor, or within Power Query, we can join the tables on this composite key. And I'm going to go with the latter option and just join the tables within Power Query. How you can join tables is up here in the ribbon on Home. You just say Merge Queries, and we just need to do additional income statement metrics on the composite keys, and we'll hit OK. Make sure to unclick this and only select the fields which you care about, which are the metrics themselves. Next, we'll do additional key metrics. And the last table is ratios, so let's do that next. This looks good to me, so I'm going to go up to the top left here and hit close and apply. And now I'm going to go back into my model. Now we're going to have to get rid of all these other connections here. And I'm going to tuck away these three tables over here in the left, and then I'll hide them after I join this to the profile. And we just need to join it on the symbol. So let's search for that. It's called ticker within this table, but we just need to join it via the symbol, and that will be a one-to-many join. And finally, we can hide these tables. So that's going to be it for the data model. Let's go into the report view and start to build out the report. To get started, let's change the theme for the report. And really, we're only doing this because some of the logos for the companies are white, and that doesn't go well on a white background. So we're choosing the dark theme there, and we also would like to customize the current theme. And for this, let's go to text, then go to cards and KPIs, change the font size here to 24. Then for the visuals, let's apply a border. Well, make sure that this is on. For the background color, make sure that it is 3A, 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 and give the border a radius of 10 pixels. And that should be it. So once you're done with that, hit apply. With our theme changed, we can get started in building out the reports. I like to put everything on the different pages, get it all out there, and then once I have everything that I need, I will then style it. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm just going to do a time lapse of this and then stop along the way at any crucial points. For this next visual, I'm going to create a banner up in the top left. This will include a picture on the left and then the company name. I just want to make clear that this is using the new card within Power BI. So make sure to use the new card. This is everything that we need on the first page minus a slicer. So the slicer is going to be quite unique because it is showing images, and typically slicers, they just show text. Here, if we take a regular slicer and we just say image, we see that all we get is this text. Now, how you display images from this is you go to the data category after you've selected it, and you specify that this is an image URL. Now, once you've done that, it'll convert these to images, but this is pretty ugly. So how you change this is you just go into the layout here, the slicer settings, change this to a tile, and now we can configure this in a horizontal fashion, and this looks a lot better. So that is how you can display the image URLs on a slicer. And I'm going to select Apple and build out the next 2 pages. This last card here, it's going to represent the address. I guess I should show you the underlying data to display the problem. So here in the profile, if we look at the address, it really only shows one section of the address, which is, that's like the first section of the address. It doesn't show the state or the town. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a measure which displays the address, the state, and the country, and then I'm going to use that within the visual. Now that we have everything on the pages that we need, we can start to format these and even format the numbers. So I'm going to go back to the overview page and format some of the numbers on the screen, such as the price. Let's make this let's format this in dollars here. That will actually turn it into the format of currency. ROIC, we should format this in a way such that it is a percentage. So go to ROIC, format this as a percentage. Even here, the return on equity, this should be a percentage. So let's format it as such. Then here, the ROIC can also be a percentage. So let's format that as well. Now for the slicer, I don't really like how it's black. It's kind of hard to tell that this isn't a part of the background. So I'm just going to change the background here. For the values, let's give it a gray background, something like this. We can just copy this over, and that should sync slicers as well, which we will need. So let's get rid of this. Paste. Do you need to sync? Yes, we do. With that done, let's start to make these visuals look pretty. Before doing that, I'm going to hide the slicer on each page. when I get to each page. How you do this is you just go to the format section, you say selection, and then here it's the slicer, just hit the eyeball and it'll hide it. For making everything look good, essentially it comes down to a couple of things. One we've already done, which is we've added a border radius to things, and next it's just going to be coloring things different so they're easier to distinguish, getting rid of these titles which don't really add much value, and then getting rid of unnecessary labels. Along with that, it's just sizing things correctly and adding shadows to different objects. Now we have all of the visuals formatted nicely on each page. So now what we need to do is create some bookmarks so that we can access our slicers on each page. In order for the bookmarks to act in a user-friendly manner, we have to add buttons to the report. So we have to go to the Insert tab on the ribbon and then just click Button and add a new blank button. For the button icons, I went to a website called SVG Repo and I downloaded a couple of different SVGs. So those are all in the GitHub link, which is down in the description. They're in the GitHub repo, I should say. But with that said, let's go ahead and add a hamburger icon to this button. So we must go to Format here and then Style, scroll down. For the icon, we need to say that we have a custom icon, and then we need to point to the location of that custom icon on our computer. So mine is in this assets folder and it's called the hamburger menu. Now I want to align that horizontally, and then for the tooltip on this button, we're going to give it a tooltip of open drawer. Now let's copy this and paste it and we'll add a new button here, except that we want to change the icon. So this one, it's going to be an X, so exit out of that, browse, and then here I just have it named white X. I'll open that, and the tooltip here should say something like close drawer. Now we need to do the same thing, except that we want a different icon for this button. We can keep the same tooltip, but it'll be down for our slicers down here. So this one, it's going to be a downwards arrow. So let's go to style again, icon. Okay, so with those created, let's open up our selection pane, and we have all of these. So let's give these some labels. This one is the down arrow button. This one is the X button. And this one is the hamburger button. Now let's bring our slicer up to the top. Let's unhide it, and then let's add in a new shape here. We're going to make it a rectangle, and we just want this to be slightly bigger than the slicer. Let's change the color on this shape, and we'll give it a background of that 3A, 3A, 3A. And then we'll just give this a border to distinguish it from the rest. So we just got to change the visual border here to, let's try black. Let's try something a bit different, a bit lighter. For the border, let's change it to gray. And that looks good to me. Now let's open up the selection pane, and we will move the slicer above the shape. And let's move this down just a bit so that we can see. Alright, that looks good. Let's move this onto top here. And we have to move the down arrow button above the shape. So with everything formatted here, we just need to add in the bookmarks. So go to View, click on the bookmarks, and add a bookmark. Well, actually, we want to delete this and hide the hamburger button. Now we want to click Add, and this is going to be the drawer open on Overview. And now we want to do the inverse, so we want to unhide the hamburger button and then hide the X button and the drawer. And this is going to be called the drawer closed on Overview. And for both of these, we want to unselect the data. And then we need to assign the bookmarks to buttons. So this one, it needs to be assigned an action, and we're going to give it the drawer open overview. So if we control click, we should get this. And now we just need to assign each of these buttons the drawer closed overview bookmark. And if we try both of these out, we should get back to the drawer closed. So now we should be able to select any slicer, close out of this, and it should work. Alright, so with that done, I'm just going to copy over what I did here on the rest of the screens, and then we're going to add some nice looking buttons over here. Now the bookmarks are all set up, and we can access our slicers on each page via this hamburger icon. And it works on each page. The slicers are synced over, and it works just as intended. So with that done, let's add some page navigation buttons to the left side of the screen to finally top off this report. We'll do that on the overview page. In a similar fashion to these other buttons, we're going to be using SVG icons from SVG repo, and for the active page, we're just going to give it a black icon with a white background, and for the other icons, it'll be a white icon with the same background color as you see on the screen. So let's get started in adding those. We'll go to Insert and then add some more blank buttons. We're going to need 3, but we can just start off with 1 for right now. So with this, let's go and change the icon. And this is considered the home screen, so we're going to choose the home black. And then we'll give this a background color of white. Then for the tooltip, let's add in something saying go to overview. And then for the action here, it's going to be page navigation, and the destination is none because we're on the overview page. So with that done, let's add in a new button. Let's give it a new icon. This one is going to be a white magnifying glass to signify the profile. And let's give this a border, which is white. Then let's give this a tooltip, which says go to profile. And finally, we need to give it an action, which is page navigation to the profile page. Now I'm going to copy this button and paste it, and we'll just supplement a new icon for the button and then give it a new tooltip and action. So we'll go with the trending up white icon, and then we'll change the tooltip to say go to historical performance, and finally go to the action and say destination is historical performance. Now we need to give us a little more space here. And we can test this out by just left clicking, or control clicking rather, and this takes us to these different pages. So now on these other pages, we just have to add basically what we did here, except we have to switch out the icon color and make sure to switch out the actions. So this one, it says none for the page action, but on this page, the profile page, we actually want it to go to the overview page. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to speed up through the rest of the video, but that's all you have to do for the remainder of the pages. With the formatting done and the buttons added for page navigation, that's going to sum up this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed this and got something out of it, and thank you very much for watching.